Dr. Jeff Davis, President of Lordship Investments and Director of New Way Community, coming to you today with 5 minutes to live by. In this program, we look at a variety of different topics. We talk about Christianity, marriage, insurance, sales, finance, business. Today, we're going to be coming out of a book I wrote called Success, A Journey to Your Final Destination. Wrote this book as a roadmap looking at different aspects of success. There are a lot of books on success, so I'm hoping that this will just add to what's already present and allow us to be able to find our pathway to success. So today, I'm going to be talking to you about enemies of success. How can you overcome the enemies of success? And are there enemies? Most definitely. There are a lot of different things that stand in the way of us being successful. And so we're just going to address a few of those today. The first one, which is kind of at the top of the list, is a negative attitude. Now, we've all heard of the terms pessimistic and optimistic. And when it comes to being successful in any area of your life, those two components really help to make the difference. You are either looking at the glass half empty or half full. You are even looking at life through the eyes of optimism or pessimism. What's an optimist? An optimist sees the good in every situation. They are able to look at things and they don't ignore the bad, but they focus more on the good. Whereas pessimism is the exact opposite. You can be looking at the exact same scenario and a pessimistic person will see the negative outside of the positive. One of the things we find is that it takes a lot of positive things to keep us going because we are surrounded by negativity. And this negativity comes in a lot of different ways, but the bottom line is negativity impacts your attitude. And you can never soar high with a low attitude. How do we make the adjustment? What do we do to help us to overcome this so that we can be successful? Well, you have to take control of your attitude. You have to see yourself so that you can be yourself. You have to see your potential. You have to see possibilities. Sometimes we'll look at things in life that we believe that we want, and yet they seem so far away that it's impossible to get there. Sadly, most of us are surrounded by people that are not positive. That if you share a huge dream with people, they look at you as if you have lost your mind. When you stand before people who are walking in mediocrity and who are not really doing great things at all with their lives, it's very hard for them to embrace someone who sees greatness. But seeing greatness is what we must do because we can never rise above our vision. In the Bible, it says that without a vision, people perish, meaning that if you don't see something, you can't be something. If it's to be, you must be able to see it. You have to be able to see possibilities. You have to be able to see obstacles being removed. You have to be able to see yourself rising above the things that hold you down. You have to be able to see yourself get up. Because if you don't, you'll stay down. And you can't do that. I remember being in about 4th or 5th grade, and there was a boy in the class that I always had challenges with. We just, for some reason, as kids, just did not get along. And, I lived in Chicago, and so there was a lot of snow on the ground and stuff. And I remember we got into a fight on the playground and all this snow. I was the kind of kid who didn't like to wear boots. I just never have liked boots. And so I was in a pair of shoes and it was snowing. I was slippery. And this kid was just beating my tail all up and down the playground. Kids were laughing. My clothes were getting all wet. I was getting so angry, but I couldn't win. And so finally, he left me there in the snow and everybody went in. And I was one of the last ones to go back into the school. And I'm headed to the classroom and I'm angry. But I'm also defeated because I'm thinking to myself, wow, I went out there and this kid just beat my tail out here in the snow. And then I remember something in my mind telling me, even at that young age, that that was not the right attitude to have. Because the reality is, you got beat up because you were in the snow. You got beat up because you couldn't stand up. But now you're inside and you can stand. And so I remember going into the classroom. I went to the back of the class, and he was just laughing and bragging to all the classmates about what he had done to me. And then I stood back there in the back, and I looked up and I called him out. I kind of yelled at him, and I said, you're a real tough guy out there. Are you tough in here? And so then he came walking up to me all big and bad, and he's gonna like repeat what he had just done to me out there in the playground. But he didn't know that he was the one now in boots and I was in shoes. There was no snow, so I wasn't gonna be slipping and sliding. And as he reached for me, I moved and then I grabbed him. And in essence, kind of beat the kid up in the classroom. The teacher came in, broke us up, we went to the office. It was a long, drawn out drama. In the end, we ended up being the best of friends. Um, and the reason was, of course, because as kids, you're kind of immature and, you're trying to show off to everybody, et cetera, et cetera. But the point that I'm making in terms of success is my situation in the snow did not allow me to be successful. But my attitude allowed me to look past my situation so that I could be in an environment where I could be successful. And that's how it is with life. We're all faced with circumstances and difficulties that may keep us down. But if you want to succeed, you have to find ways to make what you're dealing with work. You have to make where you are work. You have to have an attitude that you can do all things. Not that you are the victim, but that you will be, you must be victorious. Now, the same thing with negative attitude, they're negative people. The world is full of people. I believe there are more negative people than positive people in the world because most people only see what's in front of them. They only see what's around them. They only see the things they lack, things they don't have, things they wish they had, things they're looking for, instead of looking at possibilities. Success comes on a large scale when we're able to see that life is full of possibilities. We are not limited by what we see around us. We're not limited by the resources that we have or do not have. We are not limited by anything that we refuse to let limit us. Back in the day, the thought was if you want to be successful, you got to get a college degree. You got to go to school, get a degree, get a good job, work 40 years, retire, etc. But people that broke that mold did it. There are people that broke the mold, and they did it because they didn't see themselves following along that same path. There are people that didn't get a college degree, and they have done extremely well. There was a university that did a survey many years ago with 100 of its graduates, and they looked at where they were then, and then they checked out where they were 10, 15, 20 years later, and they found that 3% of the graduating body back in that day, of that 100 they surveyed, three of them, or 3%, achieved phenomenal success. Their success combined outweighed the other 97% of the people. And when examined to see why these three had become so successful, the number one thing that they had that the 97 didn't is they had clear, distinct goals. They started off their journey, everybody at the same place, but they began their journey thinking about where they could be, not where they were. So if you want to succeed, I'm going to suggest that you get rid of negative people around you. You're never going to rise above hearing all the negativity, and the negativity affects your attitude. So that's no good for you. You want to be higher than that. You want to get above that. You want to rise above that. You want to get away from people with a defeatist attitude. People that think that life is never going to get any better and that they can't see themselves getting better. You want to be around people that are positive. They may not have the optimism that you have. They may not be able to see things as big as you do, but at least they're not dragging you down. They're there with you as you're going through. And the last thing is you're trying to deal with these enemies of success that we all have to face. Make sure your perspective is right. Make sure you're looking at things correctly. See yourself with potential. See that you can do great things because you believe in you. Watch your life change. Your life will change if you do this. Success, a journey to your final destination. Pick your book up at our website, www.nwcom.org. Again, that's www.nwcom.org. Go to Amazon, look for books by Dr. Jeff Davis or under Jeff Davis. Till the next time we meet, this is Dr. Jeff wishing you a day filled with much success and happiness.